Afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? Good? Okay, that was actually a pretty decent response for that's awesome. That's what we're looking for. Thursday afternoon, it's hot, it's humid outside. Appreciate you guys taking some time to come and talk with us about the new Microsoft 365 admin experience. How many of you guys are already Office 365 or Microsoft 365 admins and working in the admin center? Okay, most of you guys, that's pretty cool. How many of you saw Brad Anderson demo some of the new features that are coming out either in his own session or Ron Markovich's session? We saw a couple. That's pretty cool. Okay, so what we're going to look at today is really how to make that experience yours. We'll talk a little bit about how we're bringing that cohesive experience together, and we'll talk a little bit about customization. Before we get too far into that, let me introduce myself. My name's Brian. I work on the product marketing team. Stay in your seats. I'm not going to be up here long. Who you really want to talk to is my colleague Amisha here. Amisha works on the product management team. They're the team that actually works to build this experience and make it real and bring it to market for you guys. Real quick, I just want to set a little background on kind of where the Admin Center fits in our overall strategy around Microsoft 365. So Microsoft 365 is a new way that we are combining Windows, Office, and enterprise mobility and security that's really centered around the way the end user works. They don't really care that those are three separate products. They just want to be collaborative. They want to be creative. They want to work with their colleagues and communicate. And we, as the IT side, want to make sure that they're doing that all secure. What we needed to do, though, is with those three separate products, create a really new way to administer them that is also cohesive, that works across those products and is centered around the way that IT teams actually work. Because there is not the Intune team, right? There's someone that looks after security or looks after devices or looks after file sharing or collaboration or whatever that is. So we wanted to restructure that experience and bring some of those controls and some of that data from those disparate places, get them into one place, and make sure that they work for that admin. And that's really going to be a big focus of what we're going to talk about today. Amisha's going to share more with you on that particular topic. We also want to make sure that that experience is efficient as possible for you. There are some things you do every day. There's some things you look at every day. Let's bring those front and center. There's some stuff you're less concerned about. Let's give you the ability to kind of push that off somewhere else. Let's make sure that those tasks that you do are really streamlined, as few clicks as possible, as few places that you need to go as possible. And finally, throughout that, we want to make sure that you know what's going on with your user base and with your services. There's so much data that comes out of any service, not just Microsoft 365. It can be really hard to know what actually should I be looking at? What are the important numbers? And then once I have those numbers, what should I do about that, right? So we're going to look at ways that we are surfacing this data to you and helping you understand what's going on in your world and what the next best action is that provides the best possible user experience for your user base. So I'm going to hand it over to Amisha at this point, who's going to talk a little bit about how we're bringing those controls together and how you can really make that work around the way you work and how you can personalize that experience to see and do the things that you most need to do. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Amisha.
Hey guys, thanks for cutting your lunch short to come learn about the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Just for everybody's information, if you used to use the Office 365 Admin Center, that's now rebranded as the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can get to it at admin.microsoft.com. That's the new URL that all customers should be going to. It was released on March 2nd of this year, and we have 2.3 million monthly users using the new site. So if you are used to using portal.office.com, please start using admin.microsoft.com. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to with the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We listen to a lot of feedback through the feedback that you give us in product, through customer visits, through user research, and we've heard a lot of feedback at the booth. And one of the key themes that keeps coming up is just that there's too many administrative portals to go to in order to manage Office 365. From the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to the Security Admin Center, and the list goes on. As we shift towards Microsoft 365 and bring together Windows, EMS, and Office 365, there's an increasing number of workplaces that you have to go to in order to complete your management tasks. And each of these admin centers has their own particular look and feel, which means that not only do you have to remember a bunch of URLs and where to go for what each and every single activity, But you also have to learn how to interact with each one of these portals and in order to complete your task, which wastes time. Here's some customer quotes that exemplify this. My biggest issue is that every single UI looks slightly different, but I think the last one kind of exemplifies what we're talking about here. I would love a more coherent look and feel. Right now, each one of these admin centers feels like a very distinct entity and not part of a whole. So as we pivot to Microsoft 365, we want to improve this experience for you guys. So I know that there's a lot of smart people in this crowd today because you guys have figured out how to navigate the 20+ admin centers that we have in order to administrate Microsoft 365. From the Intune portal to the Exchange Admin Center to the Security and Compliance Admin Center. But we want to simplify this experience so that you don't have so much cognitive load in switching between all of these experiences and have to remember which URL to go to, which particular tasks, and make sure that things don't fall between the cracks because you didn't remember to configure something in a certain admin center. So we're pleased to announce that Microsoft 365 Admin Center will be the single entry point for the admin experiences, and it'll link you out to all of the administration tools that you need in order to manage Microsoft 365. This will be the place that global admins live in, and it'll also be the place that even your specialist admins come to in order to get to the rest of their management tools. Additionally, we've rationalized the 23 admin workspaces that we have to a rationalized set of 7 persona-driven workspaces. And these are the personas that you have told us exist in your IT admin team. So you can see the list of 7 here, from the SharePoint administrator to Teams and Skype, Exchange, Security, Compliance, Device Management, and AAD. So the first part of the discussion will focus on the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and the improvements that we've done there in order to make your life easier. So we've focused on a couple of core areas as we've thought about how we can improve the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. With even more types of admins coming to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, since this will be your single entry point, we wanted to make sure that you could personalize your experience so that it has the things on it that are important and relevant to you and your company. And we bring to you intelligent insights from across Microsoft 365 so that you know exactly what you need to do and what's the next best action to take to help your users be more secure and productive. We've also brought some of the core or heavily used activities from the specialist workspaces into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, so that global admins who want to get a general overall view of how their service is doing can do so. And they can also take actions on some of these things that you would normally have had to go to the specialist admin center to complete. And lastly, we've built it for everyday efficiency. There's a lot of repetitive tasks that users come to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to complete. And we want to make sure that we can make that as friction-free as possible so that you can complete them really quickly and move on to more important tasks. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about personalization. We're super lucky to have a really rich, diverse customer ecosystem. We have tenants who log in from over 200 countries. I mean, I think I would struggle to even name 50 countries. So it was just really amazing to see the diversity in where they're logging in from. We have tenants who are one-seat organizations all the way up to 100,000 plus seat organizations. And we have a super diverse set of industries, from the government, from EDUs, from healthcare industries, financial industries, mom and pop bakeries, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. And each of these companies has their varying configurations, like hybrid or DirSync enabled. So it's no surprise to us when we hear feedback that there's just not enough options to customize their experience. And when we see this feedback, we see it really related to the Microsoft 365 admin dashboard, since this is the first landing experience and it gives you an overview of how the service is doing. And when we talk to customers and do usability studies and user research and focus groups and even talk to customers at the booth, we hear common feedback that you want these like really dense, feature-rich dashboards so that you can get a very detailed view of how your service is doing overall. However, when we look at telemetry, time and time again, what we see is that starting off with a minimalist dashboard actually leads to higher customer success. So as we thought about building a customized dashboard and enabling you to personalize your dashboard, we married these two bits of information in order to create an experience for you. So imagine I'm any random X. I come into the admin dashboard. I start off with a minimalist dashboard. This focuses my experience to a limited set of cards and information and gives me a clean starting point for me to then add things that are important to me. And we also start you off with smart defaults so that if you're a security admin, you probably don't care about billing, so you wouldn't see any billing related information on your dashboard. We then layer on actionable insights in the form of actionable cards as well as intelligent recommendations. These recommendations aggregate data across your tenancy in order to bring and surface information to you that might require action for you to take. And lastly, we provide customization tools. We have a rich ad card library which pulls information from across Microsoft 365, not just Office 365. And we also allow you to have sections on the experience so that you can create unique buckets of information and really organize the information in the way that makes most sense to you. And at the end of this experience, I've started out with this default dashboard. But once I've added all of this rich information on the dashboard, I end up with my dashboard. I end up with Amisha's dashboard. And this dashboard has exactly the things that I want on it. It doesn't have the things that I don't want on it, and it's organized in a way that will make me more efficient in my everyday tasks. So let's take a look at the new Admin Center. But before I do so, I wanted to just reorient everyone to our current dashboard experience. So how many of you are familiar with this experience? Awesome. So as you can see here, our dashboard cards, they don't really have a lot of information on them. If you take a look at the Office software card, it's pretty basic. You can install your software. Rolling out in the next couple of weeks for targeted release customers will be a preview button. You can see that at the top right of the screen. And the preview button will enable all of the new rich experiences that I'm going to share with you today so that you can take a look at them and start giving us feedback on those experiences. All right, so here's our new dashboard experience. As you can see, there's a cleaned up modern look and feel, but we didn't just update the look and feel of the dashboard. If you take a look at the cards, you can see that they're more insight driven. I'm going to draw your attention to the Office software card. As an admin, I know that people who download and install Office are more productive in their everyday tasks. And so I want to make sure that people who have not installed Office are installing it and starting to use it. So now I can actually see how many people have installed Office and how many people have not. And we provide you an install and share button, which with a few clicks of a button, you can send the download link to all of the users who haven't activated it yet and get them up and running with Office. And I can come to my dashboard on a daily basis to see how that number has changed over time. You may have also noticed at the top of the screen what we call a recommendation. As I mentioned before, recommendations are insight-driven actions that you can take on your tenancy. And these are specific to you and your tenancy. We aggregate data for your organization and bring the things to your attention that we feel are important enough for you to take action on. In this case, I see that I have a bunch of flagged users and risky sign-ins. This is really super concerning to me because that means that people who are not authorized to access my organization's data can access it. And I don't want Google finding out what I'm doing in the admin center next. So if I click on the recommendation, you can see that I have inline actions to turn on multi-factor authentication to make sure that my tenant is more secure. But we've also heard a lot of feedback around being able to scope these types of policies to particular users because it requires a committee to make decisions around turning on policies like these, or it requires a change management process. But we want to be able to enable you to start testing out these features so that you can get familiarized with them and bring meaningful information to the committee. So as you can see here, I can require multi-factor auth for admins only, so with my trusted IT team, or for everyone. And if I do it for everyone, I can also exclude users from my policy as well. And as you take a look at the recommendations that we offer you, you'll see that as a theme so that you can really test these scenarios more deeply. With one click of a button, I can create the policy. This is something that I would normally have to go to the Azure Active Directory portal to do, but now I can do it directly from within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So I'm going to go ahead and create the policy. And you can see that it adds a card to my dashboard. It grows my dashboard. Now, on a daily basis, I can come and see how many flagged users and how many risky sign-ins I have and make sure that number is going down. And if it's not, I can click on Edit Policies, which will take me to the exact place in the AAD portal in order to tweak my configurations to make them a bit more robust. You may have also noticed that a section was added to the dashboard when I added the recommendation. And you may have also noticed that we have sections on our dashboard. These sections allow you to organize information in the way that you want to. We allow you to create your own sections and edit your sections in the preview experience so that you can build the dashboard experience that's most important to you. I can also add cards to my dashboard. So we have some of the cards that you're familiar with, like Service Health and Message Center. But if you take a look down the list, we also have cards from across the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. You can see Windows 10 updates, sensitivity label usage from the Compliance Center, data loss prevention from security, Intune app policies from devices. I actually think that I want to take a look at advanced threat protection. So I'm going to add that to my dashboard, and I'm going to add it to the information security section. And here you can see that not only have I added the card to my dashboard, I've added it to the information security section so that all my security information is in one area, but it also gives me insightful information. It doesn't just link me into a place where I can go manage my policies, but it gives me a view of how many threats have actually been caught by advanced threat protection and enables me to edit those policies directly within the security workspace if I need to. So flipping back for a second. We talked a lot about customization on the dashboard. But we actually feel that customization is a theme within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and it will allow you to be more efficient in everything that you do in the Admin Center. So I'm going to give you two more examples of where we've integrated customization into the experience. And as you see us updating more experiences in the new Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you'll see this as a theme come up through all of our experiences. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to draw your attention to is the left nav. Similar to how Windows has a taskbar at the bottom, you can pin things to your taskbar that allow you to quickly access them on a daily basis. We wanted to bring that same paradigm to the left navigation so that you can access the things that you want to access really, really quickly and remove the clutter for the things that you access maybe never or less frequently. So on the left nav, I can click on Edit. And actually, settings is something that I use a lot. So I'm going to add the settings experience to my left nav. And as you can see, settings is now on my left nav. But you can still access everything if I click on Show More. And you can get a view into all of your information. You can also see all of the 7 persona-driven admin centers on the left nav as well. And this is how you will get to them from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. I wanted to switch gears and take a look at the active users page now. Active users is probably the #1 used part of the Admin Center. And there's a lot of repetitive tasks that admins come in to do on a daily basis, with license assignment, resetting passwords, you name it. So as you can see, we've cleaned up the look and feel, but we just haven't cleaned it up. This experience should feel familiar to you from other Microsoft products. We've took the same way that you view a list in products like SharePoint and OneDrive and brought that to you in the Admin Center so that you don't have to relearn how to use this experience. It should feel like an experience that you're already used to. I can quickly scroll through my list of users. I have quick actions that allow me to take the most common actions on a user, like resetting a password. I can access more quick actions on a user as I scroll through. We also have the concept of a command bar at the top. So as I select a user, my options at the top change. And as I select multiple users, it's kind of subtle, but the options that I can take for bulk actions have changed as well. I can also customize this experience. I can do things like resizing a column. I can also add columns. So I'm going to add a column for state. And I can also add filters. We used to have the ability to create filters before, but they were called views. They were not very discoverable, and a lot of customers didn't actually know they existed. So we called them what the rest of the world calls them, filters. Over here, you can create a new filter. So I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to call it Australia. And I'm going to say that, I want to filter these to only people in Australia. I'm going to add the filter, then I'm going to apply the filter. And as you can see here, now I've filtered my list to only people in Australia. And all of this personalization that I've just showed you persists across your sessions. So we remember this, so you don't have to come back and build these same views every single time. We also have smart memory on the Admin Center. So if I come in to reset a password, help desk admins probably do this dozens of times a day. So we actually remember your preferences. If I click on let me create my password instead and uncheck make the user change their password on first login, it remembers this. So the next time I click this button for a different user, I don't have to change my options again. When I select a user, we've also improved this experience. We've brought in some core Microsoft 365 tasks like device management, which you would normally have to go to the Intune portal to do. We brought in the most common tasks of Intune managed devices, such as removing company data and doing factory resets. So if I'm a global admin, or even if I'm a device admin and I just want to do a task super quickly, I can do that from within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We've also heard a lot of feedback about license and app management and how horrendous the experience actually is. Have any of you had frustrations trying to remove an app from a user? Yeah. We hear a lot of feedback that license management is not something that you have to do on a daily basis, but app management is. And removing apps from a user is a really, really painful experience. Because if a user has multiple licenses assigned to them and you want to remove, say, audio conferencing from a particular user, you have to find each and every single license that's assigned to them that contains the particular app that you're trying to remove, and only then will it be removed from the user. So this is a super error-prone scenario, and it causes a lot of customer frustration. So now you can see here we have the apps menu, where I can select the apps, and we automatically remove it from all licenses that are assigned to that user. Cool. All right. So we've talked a lot about how we've improved the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. But I wanted to bring you back to this experience of our single entry point, and now shift focus to our specialist admin centers. We've really built these admin centers as persona-driven workspaces so that your admins can perform all of their Microsoft 365 tasks in one particular specialist workspace. So what we've done is we've not only consolidated down to 7, but we've also brought in the core Microsoft 365 tasks into each of these admin centers so that you can work across Microsoft 365 within one workspace. And going back to that feedback that I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, how customers are really frustrated that there's just not a common look and feel across the admin centers, we're also driving towards providing a common look and feel so that you don't have to reorient yourself as to how to use an admin center, but instead you can dive deep immediately into the admin center. So today we're going to be looking at the security workspace, the compliance workspace, and the device management workspace. But the things that I'm going to show you in these workspaces apply to the workspaces also that we're not covering. And you'll see them as themes coming out in the rest of the workspaces. So let's start first with the security and compliance workspace. Right now, if you're a security or compliance admin, you have to work across 8 different admin workspaces, from the Intune portal to the Office 365 SCC portal to Windows Defender ATP. We know that in this day and age, all of your endpoints are always under attack, and having you go to 8 different areas leaves it to be error-prone, and potential attacks could get through. So as we move towards Microsoft 365, these 8 workspaces are now consolidating into 2, the Microsoft 365 Security Workspace and the Microsoft 365 Compliance Workspace. The reason that we've separated these 2 out is that you guys have told us that the teams that manage security in your IT team are different than the teams that manage compliance in their IT team. And since we wanted to really drive persona-driven workspaces, we split these 2 out so that each of these personas has their own dedicated place to do deeper configurations and not have other information muddy their experience. So let's take a look at the new security workspace and the compliance workspace. So I'm going to come over to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and from the Admin Centers list, I'm going to find Security. So right off the bat, this experience should feel very familiar to what you just saw in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can see the look and feel is the same, the left nav is the same, the colors are the same, the cards are the same, sections are the same. We've brought that same rich capability that you have in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to the security workspace. But not only that, even the data visualizations that you see on the cards are the same across workspaces, so that I don't have to figure out how to interpret this graph, I know exactly how to read this data visualization, and I can dive deep directly into the data. The other piece that I wanted to call out is the secure scorecard. So this is an example of how we're bringing together Microsoft 365 capabilities into one workspace. Before, to understand your secure score, you had to go to many different workspaces in order to get an individual view of your secure score. And you didn't have an Uber secure score, so you didn't really know what your security posture was like. As you can see from the secure score card, you can see your secure score across identity, data, devices, apps, infrastructure. And you also have a secure score at the top, which gives you the Uber level secure score that you have with Microsoft across Microsoft 365 products. And I even have actionable buttons that tell me how to improve my secure score, not just with one area, but across Microsoft 365. You may be thinking that, hey, I didn't see this top portion on the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. That looks different to me. We're actually building the same experience inside the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And if you want to learn more about that, there's a session right after mine that my colleague is giving to show you the improvements that we're making in the onboarding space. Next, I wanted to show you the compliance Admin Center. Again, this should feel very familiar to you. The card that I wanted to bring to your attention is the classified content card. The classified content card brings in, again, information from across Windows and EMS and Office. Before, I had to go to 3 different places in order to create labels and set up protection policies, and I had to make sure that I created the same labels in each of these 3 different places with the same policies in each of these 3 different places and make sure that I got everything right. And then to monitor them, I had to go to 3 different places. But as you can see here, everything is brought together into one admin workspace. I can see all my labeled content across Microsoft 365, and I can manage my labels and create protection policies and create labels from a single admin workspace. And the next workspace I want to talk about is device management. If you're a device admin, you probably already know that you have to go to portal.azure.com, you have to know to search for Intune, and only then will you land in a place where you can manage devices. But the number one task and the first task that I have to do of enrolling my devices is not actually on the Intune portal. It's in Azure AD. So this is a very confusing experience. With the new Device Management Admin Center, we've brought together all of these capabilities into one workspace and moved it from a really DevOps-centric experience to an IT admin-centric experience with clear onboarding steps and the same customizability that we've seen in the other admin workspaces. So I want to give you a quick preview of what the device management workspace looks like. So this is the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can see that I can get to the Device Management Admin Center from my left nav. And when I come to the Device Management workspace, I can see that everything I need is on my left nav. And I can see clear steps on what I have to do to get things set up, like enrolling devices and creating policies. And as I start configuring my devices, I start seeing data show through for the things that I just set up. And as I complete my onboarding, I have a very insightful dashboard. I can also customize this dashboard and move tiles around. And although this dashboard might not look exactly the same as what we saw with the security and compliance and Microsoft 365 admin centers, you can see the same themes carrying forward of tiles and insights and customizability. And as we invest more in these workspaces, you'll see them evolve over time to be more coherent. And one final note on driving towards a common look and feel. We really have taken the feedback to heart that there's just too many ways to do different things. And we want to make sure that we do drive towards a common look and feel to make your lives a lot easier. One of the core grounding experiences in the admin centers that you work across is the left navigation. This is the way that you discover what is available in each admin workspace and how you quickly access the things that are important to you. And that's why we've driven deep coherence in the left navigation across workspaces. So you can see how the Microsoft 365 Admin Center left nav is the same as a Security Center left nav, is the same as the Compliance Workspace left nav, is the same as the SharePoint Online Workspace left nav, and more of them are coming soon. Teams and Skype will be coming very shortly. And on that note, I wanted to hand it back to Brian.
Awesome, Misha. Really cool to see all the work that you guys are doing to make that both a coherent and cohesive experience for the admins, but also really customizable for whatever that particular person needs to do. Really cool that we actually got to get hands-on too. That was all what is actually in the preview that is starting to roll out this week. So let's talk a little bit about that. So that preview experience, all those screens that didn't look like your admin center, that's starting to roll out as we speak. So if you are a targeted release admin, you'll be among the first to have access to that, and you can go in and look up for that little slider in the top right in your experience. That'll, over the next couple weeks, start rolling out to all admins. All admins will have the opportunity to opt in to try those new features. And it will have a lot of features when it launches, and we'll slowly be kind of rolling out the other features that come with it in that preview. We're looking at general availability for the production new features sometime in 2019 H1. So keep an eye out for that coming to you. If you want to learn a little bit more about what's going on here, we do have a couple sessions still going on this afternoon, actually right after this one at 2:15. Timothy Heaney, who's another member of this product management team, will be presenting on onboarding to Microsoft 365. So both what does that experience look like from a day one, how do I configure the core stuff, to how do I roll out some of those more advanced features that will better protect my users and better give them a good experience. And of course, all of these sessions are on video, they are on the web, so anything that you missed, you're gonna have the opportunity to take a look at. And the one I would really point out is, where did it go? It is the second from the top, Simplify IT Management with the new Microsoft 365 Admin Center. That's a full 75-minute session. Carissa Larson from the same team really gave us a good overview of what we're doing, why we do it, and a really thorough tour of everything that's going on. So take a look at those. There are a couple hours left in the expo. We'll be on the show floor as much as possible if you want to come talk to us. If you can't get your question answered while we're up here, we'll be on the floor. We can talk one-on-one, or if you don't want to ask your question. When you come in that main entrance, we're the first Microsoft booth you're going to see on the right when you go down the big hall towards the giant atomic orb-looking thing. And then there's a couple things you can actually do right now. You can do it from your device here on the floor. You can do it next week when you go home. The first I'm going to say is start to manage your services at admin.microsoft.com. That's available now. There's an experience for everybody. It's a good experience. Get in there and start using it. If you are using portal.office.com, stop doing that. Go to admin.microsoft.com. Keep an eye out for that preview slider. There's a link up there on the screen that will tell you how you can enable that. It helps you if you're not targeted release. How do you get into targeted release? It's easy. It's just a setting you got to change. And then once you get the slider, how to flip that over and what you're going to see when you flip that slider over. We're going to keep that link pretty fresh. The content there is going to include those new features as they start to roll out. When you're in that admin center, there is a feedback button. It's in your bottom right. It's that dark gray button. It says give feedback. That's a real button. It really works. It really does go to humans in Redmond. Most of them that read those are sitting in this room. You saw all those quotes that are on the presentation. Those came directly from the feedback button. So please know that we do take that into consideration when we're thinking about what needs to be built in that experience, what's best for the people that are using that product. And then if you are not already, try Microsoft 365. If you are an Office 365 admin, or you're neither and you haven't thought about moving that direction, consider what the actual benefit to your end user might be when you start adding Windows and EMS on top of that, and how that's going to keep your organization more productive and more secure. There's an E3 trial that exists in the experience now. We're working on getting an E5 trial in there very shortly. So with that, I think, do you want to do Q&A? Or? Yeah, we got 5 minutes. If there's anybody that has questions, we got a couple mics. If you don't want to say it out loud, we'll stick around for a couple minutes afterwards and chat with you as well.
Yes, so it brings, is my mic still?
And let me repeat the question real quick. So the device management portion of the demo that you saw today, will that include Intune or features of Intune? What's the relationship between that?
Yes, so your device management admin center will take everything that you had in Intune, plus it'll bring in device enrollment, which you had to go to Azure AD to complete. So it brings together Intune++.
Great question.
So when this will be in production, like, running the portal.office.com. So when
So the question was, portal.office.com is already in production. When will the new Microsoft 365 Admin Center be in production? So great question. Admin.microsoft.com is already in production. In fact, if you go to portal.office.com today and look at your URL, it redirects you to admin.microsoft.com. What we showed you here are the new experience sets that will go under preview. So how I showed you that preview toggle, all the experiences that I showed you will be under that preview toggle that will be rolling out to targeted release customers in the next couple of weeks, and to other customers, the rest of the customers, shortly after that. Any other questions?
one question.
Yeah.
Like, we have missed few sessions, so will we be uploading these PPTs somewhere?
Yes, you can access all of the audio recordings. Can you?
MicrosoftIgnite.com.
Yeah.
Real easy to remember URL. Basically the same session catalog that you looked at to like see what you wanted to do this week. We'll replace the hey come see us with an actual video of everything that happened. What's that? No, MicrosoftIgnite.com. Just the event you're at, Microsoft Ignite. There will also be decks up there. So all of this stuff that you saw today, you'll be able to kind of more slowly look through it, kind of study it, learn what you want to see there. Question over here.
Yeah, is this on? Okay.
It is.
So in the device management section, to see your Windows PCs, you have to import them or link them through SCCM. Is that how you get them linked, or because I was in another session yesterday?
Yeah, in order to see your devices in Intune, you have to make sure that they're enrolled with Intune. So there's steps online if you search for like how to enroll my device in Intune. It gives you step-by-steps. They're pretty easy in order to make sure your device is enrolled in Intune. And once they're enrolled in Intune, they'll start showing up into the portal.
So even your on-prem Windows desktops? That's what I'm asking about.
Not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay.
sure if you drop by the booth, I can find out for you
Okay,
and
all
let you
right.
know then.
Thank you.
Cool.